Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Juliet.
We've got another one of our monthly design challenge reviews. We're going to probably pack this month with a bunch of these. So, having like a nice relaxing summer. We got a lot of submissions. We're going to split them up over a couple episodes. But all that's in service of being able to really dig deep into each of these submissions sent to us by the community. We issued a challenge for June, and we're going to look at all the cards that we received. What was that challenge?
So our June design challenge, I was feeling very Iliad, very, very Homer, and it's haughty Juno. Design a hate bear for curtailing a particular strategy. Usually a 2-mana creature, usually something like a 2/2, but sometimes a 2/1, a 1/2, a 1/1, other things, but usually a 2-mana
A
creature.
flyer, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And we had some optional bonus points to tie in with this. Arms and the Man I Sing give the card a musical theme. And Who Forced by Fate, the card interacts with or can be cast from or enters from exile. That could be foretell, suspend, plot, all sorts of different things.
Preventing things from, yeah, okay. Cool, yeah. I'm hoping to see like a variety of creatures that are like maybe just good enough. That's part of the Hate Bear promise is like you play this on turn 2, you start attacking, you cast a removal spell or two, and this will stay on board and do creature things. But in addition to doing creature things, it's also going to like somehow stymie some part of what your opponent wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in some ways like Gaddock Teague or it is like one of these types of things where like, okay, the 2/2 for 2 is going to kill my opponent and is going to require them to have some type of answer, but it's not going to like arbitrarily take over every game. It's going to be really good to counter a specific sort of thing.
Sometimes these are sideboardy, or sometimes you have enough different hate bears that which after you've played 2 or 3 of them, something is going to affect your opponent. Like Gaddock Teague, like you mentioned, stops big non-creature spells. So okay, well I have that squared away. What do I have to do about big creatures? What do I have to do about other sorts of strategies? And that's what we're going to see.
Our first submission is from Red Bay. It is it is Free Bird.
Oh,
That's a 1/1 for 1 and a red. It's a creature bird bard at rare, and it has flying, and you can pay 1 generic mana to activate. Until end of turn, target permanent with the word can't in its rules text loses all abilities. And this 2-mana creature has suspend 2 for single red mana. So you could cast this on turn 2 or start the process on turn 1 to have it enter on turn 3.
And I guess either of those prices are not great prices, like a delayed 1/1 flyer for 1 mana, or turn 2 1/1 flyer. So we want this ability to do some work. The ability to look for the word can't in rules text, I would normally think of as kind of acorny, but maybe can't is important enough in the grammar of Magic cards that we're allowed to say like, well, just look up whatever can't is in German, and also that counts. And whatever can't is in Japanese, that also counts. And then the idea here is that we can kind of selectively turn off abilities of a permanent kind of proactively. I have to pay a little bit of mana each time.
It's just shutting off until end of turn in that way. So it's not like we're slowly littering the board with do nothing permanents.
Yeah. Having to pay 1 mana potentially multiple times to keep something, to turn something off repeatedly, implies to me that Red Bay found some things that made this seem like a really good ability to them. I guess I started to look through some of the cards here. One example might be Propaganda or Ghostly Prison, which is
sure.
Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. So here's an example where Freebird could say, well, I want freedom from Propaganda from this prison. I'm going to turn off can't, and now Propaganda, I'm clear to attack.
The other element of this I would think about is as a meta hate bear card, specifically being targeted as like if I'm playing a storm deck and I want to turn off my opponent's storm like hate cards, or that's like rule of law or spirit of the labyrinth. Each player can't draw more than one card per turn. Something like Gaddock Teagues, you can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Lavinia, the 2 mana white blue Lavinia that stops your non-creature spells of being cast, or things like that. That this isn't going to get every hate bear or limiting card.
Yeah.
But it is going to get a lot of them that would target really specific things.
That's pretty convincing, yeah.
This isn't going to help Affinity against Kataki War's Wage, which causes all artifacts to have kind of a pay one or sacrifice this each turn cycle. But it is going to stop like things that limit infinite combos, things that would limit a Splinter Twin, things that would limit ETB abilities, things that would limit you from casting multiple spells, because most of those are worded with a can't. This gets through Meddling Mage. Spells with a chosen name can't be cast. And I would imagine this will probably get through a number of the other submissions that we'll see for this challenge, because can't shows up quite a bit on these sort of things.
Yeah, that's a great list.
I don't think this lets a defender attack.
Oh, if in the reminder text you're thinking?
Yeah, but it might help your, I want to say it's Vigian Hydropon or similar things that have like can't attack or block.
If it's just spelled out. Okay. Can't attack unless, yeah. Okay.
Can't attack
Like,
alone.
both the Hazarets,
Mhm.
the original Hazaret can't attack or block unless you have one or fewer cards in hand. Well, now you can just pay 1 mana to allow Hazaret to attack. Maybe even more enticing, the new 2 mana Hazaret, 5 power indestructible haste, can't attack unless you have max speed. Well, if I'm willing to pay 1 mana, I can get that. I can get my 5/3 attacking early. All right.
You just lose any like indestructible or other benefits that they've.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you won't benefit from the haste. Oh, funny. I almost non-bowed myself out of the game. Funny.
Somewhat interestingly, being able to turn off things other than like a can't ability, a card like Voice of Victory came out in Tarkir Dragonstorm and has been a pretty big player, I think, in constructed formats. That's 1 and a white for a 1/3. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn and mobilize too. So it makes 2 1/1s every time it attacks, just during that combat. And being able to turn that just into a 1/3 and not just be able to cast during your opponent's turn, but also turn off the mobilize for a single mana. That's
yeah. That's funny. I'm looking at some of the other can't cards. So like
Mhm.
Niv Mizzet Perun, the like super pipped up Niv Mizzet. This spell can't be countered and has flying and a bunch of really relevant abilities. But because it says this spell can't be countered on it, it would be a valid target for Freebird, and you could turn off Niv Mizzet's ability.
While this could have use in certain like places and times, especially seeing it in a like commander sort of environment where, hey, I want it's turn whatever. I want to do my Splinter Twin-esque combo. I want to do my Kiki Jiki-esque sort of thing, or do my big storm turn, etc. And so having a copy of Freebird can help me deal with a variety of pieces that might stop me, but also I could like get a little political with it. Hey, friend A with a graveyard deck, are you currently being limited by friend B's a Grafdigger's Cage or something? Okay, I'll turn the Grafdigger's Cage off for 1 turn as long as you're attacking them and not me. And like we can do this just because it's like target permanent. It's very, very open-ended.
Yeah, that's cool.
And maybe even I'd have to look into it, but like Phyrexian Unlife. I'm wondering if there's a way to use this against specific combos.
Oh no, Phyrexian Unlife is don't, not can't.
Oh, we'll need a Freebird solo,
Yeah.
the sequel or the expansion to Freebird.
Very nice, very nice.
This, of course, hits our bonus points pretty well. Obviously, it's got suspend, so it hits Who Forced by Fate. The art is a chicken playing a guitar or a lute of some sort, being held aloft by balloons. It's really kind of cute, fun, like art for this idea.
Yeah.
And in addition to, of course, being a bard, Freebird is a exceptionally famous song.
Very good. Cool submission and a funny way to start this off, like the hate bear.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of very red too. Like, you can't tell me what to do.
Very freeing.
All right, next up from Larson, we've got, well, first the comment of, I don't care what breaks, is Larson's design comment here. Obsessed Composer, 1 white blue for a 2/4, creature human bard, players can't discard cards. And then parentheses, costs that require discarding cards can't be paid.
Flavor text here. No, don't throw that away. I don't care if the time signature is impossible. I will make it work.
Like a hoarder almost of musical stuff.
And I will admit, doing like multiple creative projects at a time at any given time, I have been trying to compile different written on paper notes into like a digital thing lately.
Sure.
And like, okay, well, do I want to throw this thing away? I haven't worked on this project in 6 months. I haven't worked on this project in 2 years. But then suddenly out of the blue, I'm like, okay, I need to find those notes because I cracked the code. You know what I mean? I figured out exactly how to make this a fun, playable, unique thing instead of just a bunch of words. And so, especially if you're like working with paper or digital stuff, not wanting to throw away like half finished art things is something I definitely relate to. Because it's like, well, it's not like I'm keeping, a massive stockpile of clay and glazes and a spinning wheel. Like it's like it's just paper, right? Like it's just digital files. It's just a Google Drive full of folders. It's just a Discord server full of notes spread across multiple channels. Like what? How much could it be?
I like it. All right, so you're like personally connected to this obsessed composer. I like it. Larson has hit a resonant note.
And it's a 2/4. Haha. That's like a time signature that you could write in. Is 2/4.
Okay.
2/4 for 1 white and a blue, which we've had a few 1 white and a blue, like 2/3s and things really put a damper on formats a few times before. But a 2/4 here can't discard cards. Do you envision that you would play this as a reactive thing against a like discard heavy opponent, or as a proactive thing alongside your own looting sort of effect?
Yeah, I think the looting thing is what jumped out to me as the obvious thing. Like your typical merfolk looter, draw a card, then discard a card, becomes draw a card. Or like even faithless looting, which is like draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards with flashback. Like, no, let's draw 2 cards for 1 mana, and I can flashback to draw 2 more cards. So it feels a little bit more like a self-enabler than a hate thing. There are some things, like if I'm thinking commander or whatever, there are some commanders you'd bump into that do deplete the rest of the table's hand as fast as they can. And so this would save you against that. It hate bears out a couple of the like red draw spells of like, as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Well, now you can't do that. So it has a little bit of hate to it, but I would say it's 70% enable yourself, 30% slow your opponents down, something like that.
Because it's coming down on turn 3, I'm thinking especially against the most egregious discard things that I'm of late familiar with would be like scam decks, as we would call them, grief being put into play, evoked into play, and then like brought into play either a second
Yeah.
or third time, whether that's with a like not dead yet or ephemerate or various things like that. And
Yeah.
just like tearing apart someone's hand turn one, such that a
Hmm.
3 mana card, it's like, well, if your opponent hasn't already made you discard this,
Yeah.
uh,
And it's
do you
not that.
remember
Yeah. Okay.
there was a Bailoff, I think, like a 4/4 obstinate Bailoff, maybe,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
you'd occasionally play against Liliana of the Veil, that if you were made to discard it, you can just put it into play and that sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
thing.
If you get mind rotted or whatever, like Luxodon Smiter is like the newer version of that. That's like a 4/4 for
Mhm.
3. They get to slam into play if you would if your opponent would make you discard it. I guess another card that comes to mind that this isn't awesome against. I was reading through a thread of cards people would ban, like it was like on an arena subreddit.
Mhm.
Cards people would ban just because they find them annoying in standard, like not necessarily because it's like a Oko or whatever, but just like I'm sick of this card. And one of them that came up all the time is called Bandit's Talent, which is a Bloomburrow card. When it enters, each
Mm.
opponent discards 2 cards unless they discard a non-land card, and then it has some extra levels related to low hand size. I remember playing against this card all the time in Bloomburrow Jumpstart, and when this came down, I'm like, I just want to scoop. Like, I don't want to play against this deck at all. Uh,
Mhm.
and coming down a little bit early, like coming down at 2 mana, it's always going to beat this composer to the punch. I guess once you get into the mind rot 3 mana territory, now your composer has a chance of saving you. But yeah, a lot of the most potent discard cards are 1 or 2 mana.
A thing that I think could make this card really sing
Mm.
would be giving it madness.
Ah.
Uh, Mayhem could work, but madness would hit the exile part of the bonus points because
Ah.
madness you're technically casting it from exile,
Hmm.
but also obsessed composer who just keeps holding on to all of the sheet music and won't let any of it go. Like we can
Hmm.
tie into like a madness sort of flavor there, I think.
Hmm.
And that would make it so if your opponent if you are playing this reactively and they make you discard this turn one, maybe you can, get this into play sooner. And then it's like, well, do I want to play this alongside a bunch of self discard things? Because do I want to be playing other madness cards? Oh, but if I do, then I can't like cast them while I have this in play. And so like I think that would enable some things while also giving some
Funny.
tension
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as interesting deck building or that sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess madness is almost like that obstinate Baloth Luxodon Smiter clause of like,
Mhm.
if someone makes me discard this, I get to cast it. Madness, you'd probably have to pay a mana or two, but you can at least have it open so that if they do make you discard it, oh, I think the discard's
Mhm.
coming. Let me keep some mana open and I'll cast this out. Yeah, that's cool. And flavor.
Tell you what this card does do is it answers opponents' 2/2s that they are trying to attack in in combat.
Yeah, we're 2 for 2 on things that are metagamed for the hate bear environment that this challenge creates.
Somebody casts Thalia, a 2/1 first strike,
Hmm.
taxes non-creatures, and you go, obsessed composer. Good
Hmm.
luck attacking me with your 2/1 first strike. Here's a 2/4. Yeah,
Love it.
could be fun.
Thanks for the submission.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the submission. Definitely hits the musical bonus point, and there's
Mhm,
definitely
mhm.
some interesting things there. And I bet people would enjoy brewing with this, especially in white and blue, trying to
Yeah.
figure out ways to get that into commander sort of color identity for discard decks. Our next submission is from Sage Bees. It's Rock Bard. It's 3 red and a red, that's 5 mana, for a 4/5 creature
Mm.
troll bard at common. When Rock Bard enters, destroy each non creature token target opponent controls. And it
Non-creature
has foretell for 1 red and a red. As a reminder, foretell, because it's been a minute since
Yeah.
Kaldheim, I think.
Hmm.
During your turn, you may pay 2 generic mana and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. So we are paying 5 mana total, but we can do it in 2 mana and then 3 mana installments rather than needing to pay
Mm-hmm.
5 mana all at once.
So it's destroy each non-creature token. So like treasure
Mhm,
tokens, food tokens, clue tokens, stuff like that.
mhm.
I think that that's the kind of thing that you'd need to play on the perfect turn. So the ability to, pay for this installment plan means you're more likely to be able to weave it in on the correct turn to like nail 3 treasures at the same time.
Flavor text, no encore. You in treble now. Haha,
Treble.
haha. Uh-huh. I like that we start by paying 2 mana. That's kind
Hmm.
of a bear sort of thing. The fact that we're paying 3
Hmm.
afterwards. Oh, okay. And I'm getting a 4/5 and destroying an opponent who just put, 3 food, 2 treasure, 3
Yeah.
clues, what have you, on the board. They do have that window to, like, activate or use things in response to the trigger, but only if they have the mana available to do so.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think like what portion of treasure and food and clues are kept for future turns versus what ones are used like right as they're generated. You can at least catch like 1 token with this without a lot of trouble. But maybe stopping the kind of combo-y stuff that a hate bear might try to stop. Uh Doing this for this much mana at sorcery speed, it's going to be a little hard to really clean up and destroy like 6 food tokens at once or really prevent like a pop off.
Can you envision a deck that this would be, like, I hate to say, but, like, permanently devastating against, rather than just,
Hmm.
like, undoes what they've done turn 1 and turn 2?
Yeah, I guess it would have to be like token copies of artifacts.
Mm,
I have an artifact deck in Commander, and like a couple of the ways that I can go off are like making extra copies of all my artifacts, and this would at least cut that in half. Maybe that's not that devastating. I mean, it would slow me down though.
mhm. I'm thinking about Asmarana, Mordekaiser, Nakoldakar,
Yeah.
Underworld Cookbook,
Okay.
food sort of decks,
Yeah.
where whether you're doing, like, time sieve sort of thing, sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn, or, Academy Manufactor, where you're, like, triplicating all food makes also a treasure and a clue, and you can go exponentially wild, or things like that, or just other things in general. If it's turn 3 and I have 4 food tokens out, destroying all my food isn't necessarily undoing, like, it
Hmm.
isn't locking me out of the game or even necessarily delaying me from continuing to, like, build a sort of thing, because you're just hitting my tokens. Now you have a 4 or 5 out that, like, maybe that's a good blocker or a good threat,
Yeah.
or something like that. But if you're taking turn 2 and turn 3 to bring this in.
Yeah. That's where I feel reasonable that we could snag a token with this. Maybe one of the things Sage Bees is relying on is just the installment plan 4 or 5 is like a pretty
Mhm,
solid, common, limited, whatever.
mhm.
And then the upside is a little lower than the average hate bear.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is a fun card. It definitely hits both of our bonus points, but
Hmm.
I'm struggling to quite get there on this being
Yeah.
something I would either sideboard in or just, like, think of as part of the categories of hate bears, or
Yeah.
necessarily even, like, play with the assumption that I'm, like, targeting a specific strategy
Hmm.
rather than incidentally destroying a clue. Or I guess add roll tokens if your opponent has lots of roll
Yeah.
tokens
Okay.
and they haven't already gotten the value from, like, celebration or things like that.
Yeah.
If your opponent is making battle tokens, uh,
Land tokens, there's that green
Oh,
card that makes X land tokens.
now we're thinking. If you have a red card that's like a cleansing wildfire, but instead
Yeah.
of fetching a basic, it's
Yeah.
like destroy target land.
Hmm.
That land's controller creates a basic land token of their choice. And you're running a bunch of those, and then you
Hmm.
rock bard to, and then you, if you have a bunch more things, you play them, and then you bring out the second half of rock bard, or you just like running this in. Hey, I'm destroying 3 of your land.
I'm trying to think of like what this is comparable to. Like if this said like when this enters destroy target non-creature, or I guess it wouldn't be non-creature. It'd probably be like destroy target artifact or land, or non-basic land, something like that. Or I guess like when rock bar. I'm trying to think of something that's like sort of niche. Like if it was when this enters deal 3 damage to a creature or whatever, that would be like way better than this rock bard, right? So I'm trying to think of like what's other effects that we've seen that are like equally niche to this. Maybe like when this
Mm-hmm.
enters deal 1 damage to each creature target a player controls,
Mm-hmm.
because that would have like a similar sort of thing where I'd clean up one specific strategy I might clean up against, and then against another thing to get a little bit of value. I think I'd rather have 1 damage to everything than this effect. I guess I'm just trying to like gauge where the power level of this effect is.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
seems pretty niche, which means you could be generous on the creature size.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think, never not fun to put in a 4/5 before turn 5, whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
an excitable thing.
Alrighty, Rock Bard.
Mm-hmm.
Next up from Cryptrat, we've got Ferdinand the Friendly. This is 1 and a white for an 0/5 legendary creature Ox at rare. The creatures you control can attack. Wait, you're hate bearing yourself. And then for 2 generic mana, target opponent gains control of Ferdinand. Draw a card if you own him. Activate this ability only as a sorcery.
Huh.
It's like a Trojan horse that creates peace instead of war or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And you, the original caster of Ferdinand, are drawing a card each time, no matter who activates the pass around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Speaking of, we talked about like Ghostly Prison or Propaganda before. This is just 2 mana shields down for all your creatures, in a sense. It
Hmm.
is funny. So you activate this main phase 1 to give it to your opponent. So now you can attack.
Yeah.
And if any of your creatures have power 4 or less, Ferdinand, this 0/5, can just block one of them. So it's like pay 2 mana and blunt your one of your attackers
Hmm.
is the effect here, which that's a decent tax, though your opponent can just like wait until they have, a sizable board and then be like, okay, take your Ferdinand back, take your card. Wow. This is an interesting card the more I think through the play of it.
Yeah, this is certainly a useful card. You could throw this in a commander deck and have a bunch of fun with it. You're getting your cards back, which you need to do in white. You got to be conscious of your card flow in white. I guess if your opponent's like real low to the ground, they're going to really hate having to give this back to you because they have to pay mana and also give you a blocker. So if someone is like just trying to attack with a bunch of 3/2s or whatever, they're miserable against Ferdinand. So it's definitely good against the ground creature aggro deck.
Your opponent being able to answer this with whatever the modern version of a Doomblade is, uh, is like that's a real thing.
Hmm.
But I want to play this as my commander.
Hmm.
Like I just want to get this. Uh, you know, the person casting this does need to pay 4 mana
Yeah.
before it does anything other than limit yourself and be a blocker. So like weighing that 4 mana, but you're drawing a card, so it's like a 2 mana clue generator, kind of in a sense.
Multiplayer, it adds a lot of weird dynamic because, like, I give this to my opponent who likes to attack. They don't have to give it back to me. They could give it to a different opponent to keep it out of my hands because they don't want me drawing a bunch of extra cards.
Oh, wait. The specific wording is target opponent gains control of Ferdinand. Draw a card if you own him. Activate this ability only as a sorcery. If I'm the original owner of Ferdinand, do
Yeah.
I draw a card whenever anybody passes Ferdinand around? Or do I only draw a card when it leaves from me? How does draw a card if you own him? How? Because it's not Ferdinand's owner draws a card, which is, I
Yeah.
think, what I was interpreting this as for the first 2/3 of my analysis here.
Okay. Yeah, I was reading it differently. I was reading it like
Mhm.
when you give it away, you get the card, but when other people give it away, you don't get the card. That was my intuition, I guess. I don't have a great reason
Gotcha.
for that to be my intuition, but
I now think that's right, even if I wasn't reading it the first time. And I think my first way is more fun, but also maybe more just like frustrating, annoying for people playing fair decks.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I was
yeah.
thinking this card was really strong even with my reading, and I think
hmm
if you had your reading of the like you get a card each time it moves, like that's
hmm
starting to be kind of nutty. Combine this with any number of cheap spells, and your aggro opponent has no chance.
hmm
Yeah. Huh.
As far as a hate bear goes, this is a 2 mana 0/5. So I think it fulfills part of that sort of idea. It's a creature. Does does like ensnaring bridge style things or just like your creature can't attack? Like
Mhm.
how much does that play as yeah, that totally works as a hate bear versus well, hate bear should be allowing normal fair creature strategies and disallowing
Hmm.
the other stuff. Like they shouldn't they shouldn't mess with the combat thing.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, this can't get like a 10 out of 10 hate bear rating because it like can't progress the game while slowing your opponent down. Like
Mhm.
it is just slowing the game down. It punishes like basic magic decks the most.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Whereas if my opponent is playing Storm or like a
Yes.
Dredge thing or
Yes. Yes.
whatever,
Hmm.
they just go, "Okay, great. You drew a card and gave me an O5 that I can sacrifice to Dread
Hmm.
Return or whatever.
Sure.
Uh, I I don't care,"
Yeah.
sort of thing. And, I didn't say in the original brief, "Hey, you need to be trying to curtail
Yeah.
one of the different strategies." Like, it
Oh,
could be
yeah.
curtailing just mid-range attack aggros sort of things. But I feel like to me, this is a surprise to see because I'm so used to this being, like, Death and Taxes or Maverick or things like that. Like, this is, quote, "the fair deck,"
Hmm.
forcing other decks to play fair rather than punishing fair magic and letting the unfair decks go through.
We aren't like trying to disqualify this card or anything, but it's just like the hate berryness. We're trying to arrive at a definition of hate bear by looking at a bunch of attempts. And this one is somewhere in the middle of the pack of hate beariness. It like successfully hates out a thing in a cool way, in a way that an opponent can work around somewhat, which is kind of the hate bear thing of the Thalia, whatever. Like you can kill this, you can do a bunch of other things to answer it, but it doesn't have that component of being a bear, being a 2/2, being able to like move the game forward. Uh,
Mm.
I think arrived at a sweet card so far. This might be my favorite so far. Am I spoiling the end of the episode? I don't know. Thanks, Crit Brett.
The Story of Ferdinand is the best-known work of American author Munro Leaf. Illustrated by Robert
Hell
Lost, and the
yeah.
children's book tells the story of a bull who would rather smell flowers than fight in bullfights.
Hmm.
Wow. It's been animated into two films, 1938 animated short Ferdinand the Bull, and the 2017 animated feature film Ferdinand, which was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the 90th Academy Awards.
Oh.
Wow.
Huh.
Nick Jonas wrote and recorded a promotional single for the film. How cool. If you want to hear me talk more about Nick Jonas, check out this July's season of I'll Be Pod for Castmas,
Hell yeah.
covering the It's a Very Jonas Christmas movie alongside
Oh.
some other pretty wild things.
Ferdinand the Bull, played by John Cena.
You know, the world takes all kinds. Peyton Manning plays the loudmouth Spanish fighting bull who has stage fright.
David Tennant.
Yeah,
Another bull.
Scottish Highland bull. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All the rest of the cards are references to the like side characters in 2017's Ferdinand the Bull.
Mm-hmm. Who could forget Bones, the undersized but agile bull of nondescript breeding?
I saw their hedgehogs named Uno, Dos, and Cuatro.
Oh, okay. Without a trace.
The tragedy of the hedgehog.
Without a trace. I'm laughing at my own joke.
Oh, without a trace! I was going to do the hedgehog's dilemma as a classic philosophical thing. Without a trace. Oh, Tim, that's good. I feel like this is going to be cut from the episode, but
I might have to leave it in just because I'm making myself laugh so hard.
If you want to hear Juliet talk more about the hedgehog's dilemma, check out the most recent season, this past December season of I'll Be Pod for Castmas.
Mm-hmm.
Or even have one of the episodes start with Ritsuko Akagi talking about the hedgehog's dilemma. Our next submission is from VT Basemat. It's Enter on the Downbeat. It's 1 and a white. That's 2 mana for a sorcery. I believe that's a common. It's a fun trumpet set symbol. And its text for this sorcery is create a 1/1 red bard creature token. It has creatures your opponents control can't attack you or block creatures you control if their power is equal to this creature's power. Put up to 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
Whoa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into the clause, it's 1 and a white for a creature that's you can have a 1/1, a 2/2, or a 3/3. You get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And then creatures your opponents control can't attack you or block creatures you control if their power is equal to this creature's power. So there's like part of the way this is phrased, can't attack you. So your opponent's creatures can still attack in multiplayer, just not you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can't block just you if it's the same size as this creature.
Mm-hmm.
If I see my opponents playing all 1/1s, maybe my gambit is like, hey, I could have a 3/3. I just want a 1/1 because I want to stop all the stuff you're doing. Yeah, this is an interesting card.
This is a hate bear. This like limits and targets in such a kind of silly surgical sort of way, but like, hey, my opponent is going to make infinite 1/1s. Great. Here's a 1/1 that can stop all of those, or infinite 3/3s, or whether you're facing a Deceiver Exarch, a Pestermite. Deceiver Exarch is 1/4. Pestermite is 2/1, and then is it Hydroid Krasis? I always get my Krasises confused. That might be a 3/3.
Bounding Krasis, yeah.
So you can shut off any number of those, or hey, I'm facing off against like untold numbers of Bridge from Below token. Okay, well I can deal with those. Or Narcomoebas, Bridge from Below tokens being 2/2s, Narcomoebas being 1/1s, or not Ludovic. What's his name? Girl. Somebody has a prized amalgam, I think is the name.
Prized amalgam.
Or
okay. Yeah.
I've Flamekin Zealoted the Bridge from Below tokens, giving all of them +1/+1 in haste. whatever your opponent is doing, if you can anticipate them in advance, then
Hmm.
you can have a good answer. Or if whatever they're doing doesn't have haste, in all of the examples I'm giving, you're kind of expecting that your opponent potentially is going to try to kill you like in that one turn, and so saying, actually, no, stop, I think
Hmm.
is interesting.
It is such an interesting card because, like, I get a good deal. If I don't have anything good to hate on, I get a good deal because I just have a 2 mana 3/3. I get my Watch Wolf or whatever. And then if I really feel like I can make use of it, then I can scale down how big that is. I have to guess, though. It is sort of like a gambity, guessy card because, if my opponent has a bunch of 1/1s, what are they kind of likely to do? Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Like they might like completely dodge the Bard here. I mean, it's certainly a strong card, certainly does things, and then like it challenges you quite a bit to find the right size to play this
Mhm.
creature on.
It also, like, if you have various, whether it's like Heliod stuff or just thinking especially about Agatha's Soul Cauldron, if you have ways to like put +1/+1 counters on this kind of to as you see fit. So like, okay, maybe I do want it as a 1/1 or 2/2, and I can like increase it later.
Yeah.
Or harden scales and turn the
Oh,
downbeat.
okay.
Let's see Zabaz, I want to say. The one, oh, what's the thing from Ikoria? The Uralith, Uzalith,
Ozolith.
the one.
Yeah.
Ozalith, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of those cards now. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I stop my opponent's primeval titans from
Yeah.
attacking by making this a 6/6?
Hmm.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or
That's one way to to go about things.
we're gonna have one really muscular bard versus Emrakul.
Yeah. Hi, Emrakul. Can you match my note?
Yeah.
And Emrakul does it, and you're like, great, you're locked in. Keep up with me. Keep my tempo.
Like I said, I can't quite get a lock on how useful this ability is, but the power level is high enough that it kind of doesn't totally matter how useful it is. The usefulness is something you find during the game, based on certain opponents. Yeah.
Mhm. Another thing that I wasn't focusing on nearly as much is the ability to use this as evasion. If all of my
Yep.
creatures, I have 5/2/2s and 3/3s and 3/1s and stuff of various types, and I just need to get through your board, or I need to like eliminate 3 of your blockers and turn the downbeat. Great, attack your face. That might be enough.
You have anything like a overwhelming splendor that sets all your opponent's creatures to 1/1s, and now you can.
Ooh.
I guess if you're doing that, you're already winning anyhow. What am I talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you set all creatures to 3/3s or something, there's some cards that do stuff like that. You can benefit.
Using like mirror entity to set the base power and toughness
Hmm.
to a specific thing, and then you just make sure you put different amounts of +1/+1 counters on the different bards. So
Okay.
even setting all of their PTs to 2, well, one of these is a 2/2, one of these is a 4/4. Like we can kind of set and lock off various things. I'm enamored with this design. I think this is so fun. It's a little bit silly that ultimately you can just make a 3/3 that stops free power creatures from being able to block it. But that's that's fun. That might be a little bit too much for a 2 mana common, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
This probably shouldn't be common in general, but
Mhm.
who cares?
Yeah.
Cool card. I don't remember ever thinking about a magic card this way before, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
All right, next up from Yabo, we've got Flow Rider. This is 1 white blue for a 2/2 creature human performer. Looks like a hip hop dude dancing around. Spells cost 1 more to cast. Spells cost 1 less to cast for each spell cast this turn. The second word comes easier than the first. By the third, you can't stop him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making it harder for everybody to do stuff, which is maybe what you want because you've packed your deck with all kinds of like cheap things, and you're going to, I guess, the thing that strikes me originally is like some sort of artifacty thing. Enters, draws a card, kind of like 2 mana, like Golden Egg or one of those cards that, if I can get them cheap enough, I can play a whole storm of those and have a ton of fun. Knowing that I have to kick off the flow, I guess, by paying a little bit extra to start.
Yeah.
Makes counter spells harder to use, which I maybe want. This is maybe in that zone of like, this is part hate bear, part enabler. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost explicitly that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because even on the second spell, your opponent's still down mana from this creature being out. Like they had to pay one extra and then pay equal. So you don't get a discount until the third.
Yeah. Maybe you've built your deck to include some like 3 and 4 generic mana
Yeah.
cards to be
Yeah.
able to like just start casting them for free and then
Mm-hmm.
go bigger and bigger if you have enough X spells that
Yeah.
can, keep going through and then your X's become kind of free. I think this is a fun this is a fun combination of mechanic and flavor together. I think
Hmm.
the two support each other in a
Mhm.
really interesting way. I think this is this is a fun Magic card name because it's like, oh yeah, you are
Mm.
riding the flow, and Flow Rida, like
Yeah.
the extremely, extremely successful hip hop artist,
Yeah.
um, whose name itself is a pun on Flow Rider and Florida.
Florida. Yeah. Has the hate bear component, allows you to progress the game, you specifically because you're building around it, which is kind of what we want to see. If I'm
Mhm.
playing Gaddock Teague, like we mentioned, I'm not going to include any expensive non-creature spells. You're going to build your
Mhm.
deck to not get hated out as much as your opponents are.
Yeah. I wonder about specifically as being white blue is kind of interesting or funny to me because
Mm.
I feel like the thing that this would limit the most might be like a white blue control sort of strategy
Yeah.
where okay, suddenly their counter spells cost more and they're, you know, that they kind of want to be playing on one, but maybe the counter spells don't cost more because its spells cost one less to cast for each spell cast this
Oh,
turn.
funny. So
So
counter spells are actually never penalized, and sometimes they might
yeah,
be cheaper. Huh.
okay.
Ah.
So maybe I start looking at um like cancels that have some upside. I don't know, dissolve. I'm sure there either have been or will be some
Mm.
like one blue and a blue counter spells
Yeah.
that have some upside over counterspell for specific purposes, and you can just be like, this is identical to counterspell, or this is the like one in a blue like mana leak rune snag sort of style. It's like, okay, that's much worse than counterspell. Except while I have a flow rider out, those but no, they aren't discounted until are they discounted at neutral? It's one more and then one less. So yeah, they don't get discounted until it's the third spell.
Mhm. Mhm. It's the third by any player. We didn't really think through that at first, yeah.
That math, I think, will trip up or would be tripping up a lot of players uh, until they got a hang of it. I can imagine in a multiplayer, like 4-player commander game, being like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
how much does okay, and then I'm responding to you. So it costs one less? No, it costs neutral. And then kind of working back and forth, what things do you want to cast on somebody's end step versus get in while the getting's good?
Yeah. I think, like, maybe a little bit of reminder text on the second ability, parentheses, by any player, would
Hmm.
would have kept us from messing up the card for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think we got it. It just is tricky because you expect the second clause to overwrite the first, but it adds up with the first. It is -1, but
Yeah.
it's -1 after a +1, and that
Yeah. Yeah.
that
And
math feels a little unusual.
somehow I thought that like maybe because the flow rider flavor, like I was sort of
Mhm.
thinking like I have to be the one responsible for building up a flow rather than like storm or something, which is like anybody does anything and that it moves things forward.
Mhm.
This is a cool card. Do you take more advantage of this in one-on-one or do you take more advantage of this in multiplayer? I'm not really sure, but you certainly have different ways of making use of it, which I didn't understand at first and now I do.
I think the place I would take most advantage of this is in, two-headed giant. Could
Hmm.
really build a
Okay.
pair of decks that hey, I'm doing white blue control, you're doing weird win the game combo with a lot of
Hmm.
colorless
Hmm.
sort of stuff. And I, am fluster storming. I'm force of negation, pact of negation, force of will, days, any number of things to get this little stack of stuff such that you are able to now do, okay, my 3 mana colorless card is free. Now my 4 mana one is, and I'm tapping these for mana to then cast my 8 mana thing, and I'm I don't know, doing some Worn Power Stone tricks. I don't know.
Hmm.
You can imagine a sequence of things that use a flow rider to slow down and enable, and that remains an interesting thing that is not what most hate bears that we've seen so far are.
I think that's a fun thing about these design challenges is like we have a general space that we're saying, hey, give us a card anywhere within this pretty big circle. But then we sort of understand like how close to the center of the circle you are with different kinds of designs and what the what the real definition of things are, what you actually want to shoot for to make a fun card versus one that like adheres to the spirit more. There's we get to learn a lot with these challenges.
Mhm.
All right, what's next?
Our next submission is from, it looks like this is from Juliet.
Oh, new submitter?
Something like that.
Yeah.
The card name is Fear of Growing Up.
Oh.
It's green and a blue. That's 2 mana for a 2/2 enchantment creature nightmare at uncommon. Each other creature has increment,
Hmm.
a mechanic I believe that we just saw in Secrets of Strixhaven. It's
Hmm.
kind of like Evolve. It's whenever their controller casts a spell, if the amount of mana spent is greater than that creature's power or toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. And the other ability of this card, other than each other creature has increment, is creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can't attack.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
Flavor text. It's not that I'm sentimental. It's just that I'm terrified. From Matchmaker
Ah,
from Fiddler on the Roof.
there you go. Creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can attack. So that's yeah, ensnaring bridge. Is this true in your mind? This is sort of like a modern card that comes in and out of it's like very hardcore when people are playing ensnaring bridge. Like opponents are losing their minds.
Yes. I think there's a Ristic Studies video on Lantern Control. I want to say Ensnaring Bridge is like an old card. That's
Yeah.
part of it's a
Tempest or
Weatherlight
something.
sort of
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
Yeah. But it is true that it is occasionally brought out to absolutely make people question how much time they want to spend seeing.
In this game, yeah.
But that's Lantern Control as it was. And in the modern era, Lantern Control often finds okay, it's more efficient to just win the game than to draw out the game into a concession and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In this specific case, one thing I'm suggesting is this is easier to destroy than a
Yeah,
A
enchantment and creature. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that's fair.
While you aren't destroying it, or if you do destroy it, you're getting a benefit potentially out of this because
Hmm.
all my opponent's creatures, in addition to my other creatures, but all my opponent's creatures have increment. So whenever if I'm playing against you and I put Fear of Growing Up out and you have, let's say, a 2/2 and you play a 3 mana spell, you now have a 3/3. So your
Hmm.
creature just grew
Yeah.
because of a thing that my like permanent so like there's some trade-off even if it is like delaying things in some ways. Yeah, I might have three or more cards in my hand or your various other sort of things.
Greater than the number of cards in your hand can attack.
Mhm.
So I guess we're mostly trying to see the other clause as a downside.
E up ye The idea is that they together form an upside
Yes.
that can be a downside if you aren't building your deck or playing carefully,
Mm-hmm.
and that this is, in the style of the Fear of Blank
Mm-hmm.
nightmare cards
Mm-hmm.
from Duskmourn, and their kind of weird way of saying, like, "Okay, here's this thing that's kind of true," or "Here's this way that we're going to hit" the biggest one of those for me is, like, Fear of Missing Out.
Hmm.
Um, that can, keep doing these little attack alone, steps or doing things like that. In this case, by saying, "Hey, everyone is growing around me, and I'm not growing. What is that?
Mm.
Like, what does it mean to try to hold on to not
Mm.
growing?"
Yeah, yeah. I think the flavor makes a ton of sense too. Yeah.
Mhm,
I think this is a cool card. I'm trying to really just calibrate what my expectation is when I put this in a deck or when I play with this card.
mhm,
I guess as kind of a general thing that I can do is I could play this late. If I don't have that many creatures, I could try to get my other spells out of my hand first, play this, have a couple turns of safety while I do other stuff. My opponent's maybe growing a little bit as the longer I leave this on the battlefield, but I can at least maybe not fog, but I can at least buy some time,
mhm,
buy some space. If I play this early in my curve out, I play my 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, etc. I
mhm,
could potentially benefit it. I can keep up with my opponent getting a benefit from this while also getting or making it hard for them to attack, or maybe hard for me to attack as well.
mhm, mhm.
I might be building up huge creatures and then bouncing my own fear of growing up to then allow the floodgates to open.
Yeah. A lot of these things are possible. There's also my opponent is able to attack right now. They are sitting on bigger spells that they have to decide, do I cast this and grow my creatures
Hmm.
and assume that I'm going to be able to remove the fear growing up?
Hmm.
Or do I wait to cast this and now I've like taken a turn off from casting anything because all the stuff in my hand are 4 mana spells or greater.
Hmm.
It's not just non-creatures. So like, hey, do I play my 5 drop if it stops all of my 1, 2, and 3 drops from being able to attack? That's a thing that, will sometimes happen on various different board states. That's a like, well, I've got to think through, and like you're making
Hmm.
your opponent think through, do I want my creatures to get bigger? Which I
Yeah.
think is a fun
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mini game for them to try to figure out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's this. There's like several mini games almost built into this thing.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yes.
uh, which is boggling me a little bit. Not to say I'm against the card, but just like I don't know how to feel.
Uh-huh.
Which is maybe what the character who has a fear of growing up doesn't know how to feel as well. So maybe I'm being put in that position.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, should I be doing this thing that is like natural and
Yeah.
inevitable? And what happens when I finally get rid of the fear of growing up? Like,
Yeah.
do I have a lot of growing up to do? Like when all of the things around me have grown and I wasn't for whatever
Hmm.
like reason. Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of increment in Secret Strixhaven. There weren't that many cards, and also it wasn't a big part of the limited format. So
Mhm.
I don't feel like I understand increment at all. So that's part of what's boggling me. It's just like I haven't applied this to many different things. Like I know evolve a little bit better, but increment, I don't know how to forecast that. But it's a cool card. There's a lot going on. Like we said, there's multiple mini games, so certainly a worthy thing to think through. An old blue green, can't hate on the blue green.
Mm-hmm. And it's blue green, not one blue green. We can always hate on one blue green
Oh,
cards because
hell yeah!
those totally different ball game. One blue green that gives us Uro, that gives us Oko, that gives us Nadu,
Yeah,
and I'm sure other names in our future with vowels
funny,
in them.
funny, with lots of vowels. Yeah.
Uh huh.
All right, our last one is from Peter, mono white border or mono breakfast border. What does
Mm-hmm.
that mean?
Breakfast all day.
Oh, okay. Uh, he submitted simple man, white for creature human. If a creature would enter as a copy of any permanent, it enters as a copy of this creature instead. And it's a 3/2. So 2 mana 3/2. Be something you love and understand. I'm a simple kind of man.
So this absolutely answers a Kiki Jiki, a
Sure.
Splinter Twin sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Uh-huh.
I forgot Village Bell Ringer earlier. That's one of my favorite
Oh, okay.
sort of things. There's no reason to play it over Deceiver Exarch in
Mm,
like 2026 decks, but
sure.
other copying sort of things. It's a shame this says creature. Otherwise, you could use this against like Thespian Stage, Dark Depths
Oh, it is
sort of
creature.
combos.
Interesting.
Other big copying sort of strategies. Do we do much? If we ever get decks built around that blue reanimate that we got in Murders of Karlov Manor, that felt like such a color pie break, but I don't think is necessarily really messed with any formats, that just like makes a copy of something in a
Uh-huh.
graveyard.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of any other things that like really do an outsized copy. If Eldrazi Mimic somehow becomes a tour de force, Eldrazi Mimic instead becomes just a 3/2. I don't know that you're like super winning playing Simple Man against an Eldrazi Mimic deck, though.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I was thinking the
Uh-huh.
copy card that comes to my mind the most for Arena is a card called Doppelgang, which
Mm-hmm.
is I would say any YouTube video you're apt to click on that talks about some gigantic combo on Arena is likely to contain this card. This is triple X blue green. For each of X target permanents, create X tokens that are copies of that permanent. So for 5 mana, you can make one copy of one permanent, but for 8 or 11 mana, 14 mana,
Mm,
you can make 4 copies of 4 permanents.
that's a lot. That's a
Wi-
lot.
If yeah, it enters the kind of funny zone almost
Mhm.
immediately with a decent amount of mana. Unfortunately, I don't think that Simple Man is that great a hate card for it because I would still get 16 3/2s. So, like, how sad can I be?
Mhm. I similarly, I'm in the past thinking about Right of Replication.
That's the other
The
example. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the kicker copy card from original Zendikar, maybe?
something like that. Yeah.
Similarly, even just making, "Oh, I made 4 3/2s."
Oh darn.
You're and you spent a card and mana to
Yeah,
cast Simple Man. Not
yeah,
me. You did. Okay, yeah. I'll attack in with my 3/2s.
yeah. I guess maybe it's meant to. Peter's feeling like the 2 mana 3/2 is like a good enough creature that it's like
Mhm.
I only stop a narrow band of things, but I am solid. My deck is going to be able to use this body well enough to put a hurt on my opponent while they are trying to build up to their giant doppelgang.
And there have been times in the past when Splinterton was like the best deck,
Hmm.
and having multiple different things that could try to limit that
Hmm.
is like that's a useful thing for different cards to have different toolboxes, whether that's, hey, I'm playing Rakdos Charm, or hey, I'm playing
Hmm.
Simple Man plus this other stuff. It's like, this is doing enough to slow the most dominant deck down or
Hmm.
stop them from having a turn 3 kill, that instead they're just a like mid-range card advantage deck instead of a turn 3 combo deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's the role that a hate bear is like built for in a big way. It doesn't have to be, not everything has to be a rest in peace, with hexproof or whatever. Like sometimes it can just be, I stopped you from killing me on turn 3 with something ridiculous. Now
Yeah.
let's play Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, I've become Universes Beyond poisoned slash
Okay.
Peter also posted a Universes Beyond card in Popcorn this last
Okay.
week.
Yeah.
And so I read Simple Man and I'm like, oh, this is another Marvel hero I haven't heard
Oh.
of.
Oh, hell
Like,
yeah.
whose like superpower is making other people's superpowers like just
Hmm.
be him, I
Hmm.
guess. I don't know. But if you told me this was Simple Man, white, legendary creature, human,
Yeah.
common, if a
Yeah.
creature would enter a copy of this permanent, enters a copy of this
Yeah.
creature instead, it's a 3/2, be something you love and understand, I'd be like, great, this is Simple Man. I'm sure the fans really love Simple Man.
Yeah. There's a Marvel character, a kind of loved Marvel character, Forget Me Not, who's a mutant who no one can remember was around.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a tragic little story that people
Uh-huh.
like. So I think you're right. Simple Man is like is ready for that kind of one shot story. Uh,
Yeah,
cool
I
card.
think
Like I said, we're doing 3 somewhat shorter episodes, though I think you still got your content for this week if you're a listener. But given that we're at the end of looking at this week's submissions, what's your favorite?
um gosh, the art on Freebird is so fun. But I think my number one, because I'm going to be thinking about it for a while, is Enter on the
Yeah,
Downbeat.
you seem pretty high on that one. Yeah.
The one in white sorcery for the bard that can be multiple creature sizes. That's just, oh, there's so much to do with it. And it, a thing that I sometimes like about cards is they can be slightly strong, and as long as they have ways for players to misplay them,
Hmm.
like a card that has an extra mode, it's like, okay, that's strictly better because it has that extra mode, but like sometimes you'll choose the wrong mode because you're just like overthinking it, or you're trying to like outgame something, you're like, "Ah, I messed up." And
Hmm.
Enter on the Downbeat's ability to be like, no, I should have just played the 3/3 and attacked with a
Just had my 2 minute
3/3,
P3. Yeah.
and I tried to be too clever. And
Uh,
like,
to
I
level
think
yourself. I like it. Okay.
uh I think there's real space for that. And if I'm seeing 1 in a 8 for 3/3s printed
Hmm.
all the time these days with upside, I want them to also have, and you'll make mistakes doing it. I think that's good design. What's your favorite from this match?
I thought I was going to be Ferdinand, who I find to be a very fun card to think about. But I
Mhm.
think I'm actually going to switch to Flow Rider. I think the more I
Mhm.
think about that, I just imagine throwing this on the table in a commander game and then just like knowing I'm altering the game state, but I'm not like making it miserable.
Mhm.
It's a little Haiti. It's going to stop like some stuff, but it also might cause something ridiculous. And also, I can pack a couple cards in my hand that are like 7 and a blue and cast that for 1 mana, because someone else stormed off. They fell into my trap. They took advantage of the discount. And now I'm just going to come back over the top. So, yeah, I think I'm going Flow Rider.
Now imagine, if you will, multiple flow riders out in play. The first spell costs 2 more to cast. The
Hmm.
second, neutral again, no matter what. The third, 2 less. The fourth, 4 less to cast.
Hmm.
That's
I like it.
pretty wild. Trying to tie that, you said you're altering the game state without just like destroying things,
Yeah.
or ruining anyone's day. I'm thinking about like various smothering tithe. Oh, what's heuristic study? Like stuff like that. It's like, here's a different type of tax
Hmm.
in a sense that you're just like, okay, anticipate this, but then you can sequence it to be more friendly.
Yeah, it's just enough different things going on that one came over the top for me.
The end of one month marks the beginning of
Mm.
another, and the beginning of a new month marks the beginning of a new design challenge. We've got a new July design challenge, which is Incarnation Day. Design an incarnation that could be part of a cycle.
So the incarnations, I guess the first ones were like wonder and anger, things that cared about being in your graveyard. We had some recent ones in Lorwyn. There's like the Modern Horizons cycle of like
Mhm,
fury and all of those grief. So these are basically all elementals.
mhm,
We want them maybe to be part of it. We could imagine the cycle. You could use one of the existing cycles. You could replace belonging if you wanted to with a different thing for that cycle. You could replace endurance if you felt like it. The kind of spirit here is that these are sort of like magical embodiments of a emotion or idea or feeling or something like that.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but then you have gone way deep on what your bonus points are here. So if incarnation felt a little open ended, don't worry. Juliet has some guidance for you.
Yeah. The first of these is in core nation, like a core set.
Mhm.
Your submission could be printable in Foundations 2 when that comes out, or a Foundations Jumpstart, whether that's
Mm.
Jumpstart packs or Jumpstart product as a whole.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
just kind of a fun extra
Yeah,
thing.
like, no, it probably wouldn't have evoke at that point. It would probably be some other way to get. Yeah, that can make sense, yeah.
But again, that's just a bonus. So if you
Mhm.
want to follow one of these more esoteric things or your own new mechanic, we can review it and go, yeah, I could see this being in
Mm.
Foundations. Had all sorts of Foundations brought back Threshold. There's uh all sorts of things. Another thing to think about is, well, if I'm gonna make one of these cards, what should the name be? Because the name is such a big part of an
Mm.
incarnation.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
here we have the remaining bonus point. The first is Incoronation. If your card is white, its name is a regal virtue.
Ah.
I'll have a number of examples in the Discord there, but you can think about authority, wisdom, impartiality, things of this nature. Our next bonus point is ink carnation. If your card is blue, its name is about ink or octopi.
Mm.
I'm thinking about obfuscation as a
Mm.
sort of thing, or opacity, or chirality, or perplexity. There's a lot of different things that you could try to examine there. Our next one is incarnation. If your card is black, its name deals with the Gnostic separation of mind and body.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, which obviously everyone, I don't even have to like list examples. Everyone's like
Mm.
already on that. But if you want
Yeah.
to think about something like essence or dualism
Mm.
or blasphemy, if you want to think about experience or abandonment, these are all things that deal with what is us that isn't just the body. What is the mind separate from the body? What is the soul or self as a idea? I think there could be some fun things there. That's your bonus point for a black card. Our
Hmm.
next one is intarnation. If your card is red, its name is a cowboy word. So your card could be
Uh,
dust or prosperity or even, gentility, gumption, marksmanship, lots of fun options there. And finally, our last bonus point is incarnation. If your card is green, its name deals with flowers. So you could be really on the nose with like blooming and verdance, but you could also be thinking about like symmetry or asymmetry or symbiosis, bouquet, arrangement. There's a lot of different things that you could be thinking about with for that. So you've got a number of options and a number of directions, and there'll be examples. There will be examples of a lot of this in the Discord there. Tim, when is this July Design Challenge going to be due?
We have so many bonus points, we had to give you the maximum time. So July 31st, very last day of July, you got to get this in.
And this episode will be coming out on July 1st, which means it's the last half week of Popcorn. If you want to come check out Popcorn 2, this time it's personal.
Yeah.
There have been some really, really fun things. Popcorn's been great, and I really am looking forward to seeing what that turns out to be. So,
yeah, squeeze a card in right in the end. Yeah, even if you haven't contributed, get one last thing in there.
I think they're finishing that up on Sunday, July 5th. So stop on by.
Okay. Yeah, only a couple days.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's about it for the podcast for the week. Hop on the Discord. That's where Popcorn is. That's where you can submit your design challenge submissions, where you can find out about all kinds of other stuff that's going on. Design games are happening too. People's projects, if you want to jump in on some of those and read up on what people are working on, grab the link, hop on the Discord, come hang out with us.
Come by the Discord. So much of the stuff happens through that. Come submit your cards. I'm always excited to see more things. I also want to highlight, not this week, but coming up soon in the month of July, is the new season of I'll Be Pod for Castmas, the other big podcast that I do. 2 seasons a year, usually 4 episodes a year. I think this season it's actually going to be 3 episodes because one of our themes this month is 3, as we cover, I think I mentioned earlier this episode, a very Jonas Christmas movie, and also Tim, can you think of anything Christmas related that might have like 3 guys in it?
Oh, I guess the Wise Men?
Yeah, the 3 wise men. That's really interesting. I think we might get some fun.
I feel like I'm being led into a trap of some kind.
No. This is like entirely earnest. Like,
okay. All right.
Yeah. And so, if you've ever wondered to ask the question, which of the 3 wise men is which of the 3 Jonas brothers?
Okay.
Or some other questions about what it means to like play a version of yourself, what it means to be creating media where you play a character with your own name. I think there's some interesting things there. So you can check that out wherever podcasts are found at I'll Be Pod for Castmas.
Awesome. Looking forward to that as usual. And then most of all, everyone, thank you for listening.
And always remember, don't anger the gods. Like if you can help it, if like the Greek gods are present in your life, don't do things to anger them.